That's the best part about the first one. The best part.
Right.
When you see that girl getting killed in her room and she's getting pulled up onto the ceiling and her boyfriend is sitting there helpless because she's asleep and freaking Freddy's got her. That was what made that movie special. And they said, they took that and they said, nah, we don't need any of that. We're going to have Freddy slowly possess Jesse. And at one point...
And donuts. We sell donuts.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Blood and Donuts. I am Tony.
I'm Chris. Thanks for joining, everybody. And welcome to the last week of Sequel September. We are pumping out the sequels this month, and it's been fun.
Some better than others, but man, it's been fun going back and see the second installment. We did all second installments. We didn't do 3 or 4 or anything like that. We did Evil Dead 2, Halloween 2. We did Terrifier 2, reaction and a review. So go back and look at all of those. And of course, like you said, this is our last installment of Sequel September. A Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy's Revenge.
And next year we'll do 3s. We'll do 3s next year. Right.
We'll probably get some 3s in throughout this year as well. But that'd be
we probably should.
Here at the Blood and Donuts podcast, we'll start sharing an overview, facts, and our first impressions. Then Chris and I will give our donut rating. And then after that, we will do a scene-by-scene discussion that is full of spoilers. But don't worry, we'll let you know before we do that. Chris, go ahead and tell them how our donut rating works.
So our rating system works. We rate our movies on a 1 through 13 donut scale. A 1 through 4 is terrible. We're not going to recommend that one to you. A 5 through 8 is like a mid-range. It's worth a rent if you have time. It's not terrible, but it's not great. A 9 through 12 is great. You'll definitely want to check out a 9 through 12. And Tony, 13, that's our Baker's Dozens here. That's pretty rare, but that would be considered like a masterpiece of a horror film, maybe even in the discussion of best of all time.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. It's a 1985 American supernatural slasher film directed by Jack Shoulder and written by David Chaskin. The film follows Jesse Walsh, a teenager who begins having reoccurring nightmares about Freddy Krueger after moving into the former home of Nancy Thompson from the first film.
Ooh, so it's kind of like a continuation. It's like not like right after, but it's like 5 years later, right?
5 years later, yeah. I like the idea of moving into the house and it's haunted by Freddy. I like that idea.
Right. You know, every family that moves in there, you know, something happened, kind of like Amityville Horror or something like that. You know, like the house itself, you know, it just stirs up a bunch of crap for the family that moves in.
I think that's a cool idea. And you know what? I'm okay with replacing Nancy Thompson, Heather Langenkamp, and using her in future installments. I'm good with replacing her with Jesse in this one. You know, it's a sequel. Yeah. It's 5 years later. She had a very traumatic experience. She saw her boyfriend die across the street. She saw many of her friends die. Why would you keep living in that house? So I'm okay. I'm okay with the setup of this.
Yeah, she saw her mom get pulled through like the front door window. I mean, horrible memories of that house for her.
As she was driving off in a Freddy Krueger car.
in the Fred car.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you see where they originally did not want to cast Robert Englund? And then, like, somewhat through the production, they were like, nah.
This sucks.
The director, he realized, like, he made a big mistake, and he's, like, brought him back in and met all of England's demands.
So that was so we had a big, massive hit with A Nightmare on Elm Street. And New Line Cinema, I mean, it kind of, like, saved this production company, right? And so, but at the same time, they paid all their bills. They did everything. They stayed afloat, but they're still trying to stay afloat here. They're not swimming in cash. And so they're like, we got to put out another sequel. They put this one out on a fast track. It was 1 year to the date of the release of the other one. They released that. They filmed it, put it in production, edited it, got it out. And I think it shows a little bit how this was rushed because you have a bigger budget. You have double the budget here, but to me it doesn't seem the quality is not there that you have with the first one. Again, it's not terrible. It's not a B horror movie. I'm not saying that, but I'm just like some of the shots that Wes Craven brought to the table. Again, he wasn't involved in this. He read that script and we'll get we'll get to this in spoilers. I don't think we should spoil the plot too much, but just there's a few elements in there that they wanted to change about this movie, and Wes Craven wasn't having it, and it really stepped away from what Freddy is and how he haunts in the first one.
Yeah, you can see it. I mean, with every sequel, you're going to lose like a little bit of the charm from the first one, right?
Yeah.
Like it just happened. In my opinion, we'll get to it. A little bit bigger step down in the charm and the mystique of Freddy Krueger, in my opinion.
Still some really good practical effects in this. Freddy looks freaking awesome in this, man. I thought he definitely looked different. And in my memory, I thought he was the most vicious in the first one. He looks even more vicious in this one, which was surprising to me. He's not campy. He's not jokey like he is in the future installments quite yet. They have him in the shadows. He's kind of like oozing or something. He almost like has like a, you know what I mean?
He's constantly wet. In this one.
He's sticky.
He's wet.
He's like sticky, which I don't know. He has some menacing eyes. His eyes are very red in this one, and I don't know.
The same guy that did the makeup effects for Freddy in this one, he went on to do some other great stuff, but he was part of a few other bigger iconic movies and their makeup design. So this one tell that Freddy is a lot more sticky as you mentioned. But he's also like he looks more mean and he looks more cruel.
That's true. And I say that he's in the shadows. Freddy has a minimum screen time in this. He only appears on screen for 13 minutes this entire film. But he pops into the movie in a huge way, midway, there towards the end. There's this controversial swimming pool scene that we will get to, and we'll talk about even more in spoilers. But yeah, he's just out there, I
didn't know that was controversial, but yeah, sure. Yeah. I just thought they were all having a great time and nobody wanted to leave, but we'll get to it. What's going on? And everybody's watching it happen.
Yeah, they were. And I feel like,
can y'all wrap this Freddy?
I feel like they would have been
back to partying.
I feel like they would have been a little bit more scared too, because they were just kind of just like, they were kind of just like, man,
this Freddy guy's gross.
Yeah,
just, get him out of here.
You got Mark Patton as the lead. He's Jesse Walsh, making him one of the few male protagonists in a slasher film, which typically features female leads. And I don't think we can get out of this review without talking about the controversial subtext. This film often is viewed as having strong homoerotic subtext, which you and I, watching it when we were kids and watching it without knowing that, we wouldn't have said that, would we have?
No, I wouldn't have really picked up on it the first time. There's a scene later on where they're like just at seems like what is a gay bar, which, was just kind of there. It didn't really impact the story at all, except, a coach was there. But, I only kind of learned about it because I watched the movie and then I went and watched a few reviews just to kind of get a lay of the land of what other people thought. It didn't really affect my opinion much, but I just kind of want to see what other people
every review you see, everything you see, they're like, man, this is the gayest Nightmare on Elm Street film there is. I'm just like, what?
Did not have the self-awareness to realize that any of this might be interpreted as gay.
And I actually don't think that originally Jesse was written as a gay character. I think it's something that happened along the line by serendipity.
I also had not the slightest idea that one of my lead actors was gay.
We made Nightmare 2 absolutely clueless that it had any gay overtones whatsoever.
A lot of where there's gym coach who kind of like runs the kids to death, right? Like when you mess up, you do push-ups, stuff like that, and then they kind of have this conversation between each other that he hangs out at the gay bar downtown. He likes this what is it called? S&M stuff.
BDSM.
Yeah. So he likes that. So Jesse has
Thanks
a
for putting me
dream.
on the spot there.
Yeah, sorry. So Jesse has a dream. I was like, Chris will know what that is.
Chris will know what that is.
Yeah. So Jesse has a dream where he goes to that bar and there's that coach, and then to me it just kind of added up to that. But when you really look for it and you see Jesse or Mark Patton was a homosexual man. And people say that, it kind of alludes to the fact of a man who is in the closet and he is fighting with his own sexuality, and that's what Freddy is. Like this persona that you have to hide from people. And I didn't get that.
Thinking about guys being like unsure of their sexuality. And I thought, well, that's pretty scary.
David said that. I am astounded because I certainly didn't get it either.
Do stick out. They do some hot shots of him in tidy whities, and they show his crotch a lot, and they go right in for it. And Jesse also has a very particular scream. I mean, it's not like it's like I can't do it. It's an amazing scream.
Loud.
It's an amazing feminine scream that Mark Patton has. So his girlfriend, what was her name?
Kim Myers.
Looks just like
she played Lisa Weber.
Looks just like a young Meryl Streep.
Yeah, I saw that. And that's why she was cast.
Yeah, she looks great. Yeah, she looks great.
Robert Englund said that this was his least favorite A Nightmare on Elm Street. He
Robert.
wasn't a fan. Probably because he didn't have a lot of screen time.
Yeah, he only got 13 minutes.
And this is the only one that has the male lead character. You know, you have Final Girls and all the other ones, but you do have Mark Patton here as the final guy. And
apparently, this he never really got into acting anymore after this, or he got out of acting. And he speaks about how like it affected him in a certain type of way of getting roles and and just being a gay man. But he did in later years embrace it, and he calls himself horror's first scream queen, male. So he's kind of embraced it in later years, and I'm happy that he's happy. I'm happy that he's doing well.
His portrayal of Jesse in this movie is one of my biggest highlights. I think he did a great job.
Yeah. Oh, I thought he did great too. Like you weren't a particular big fan of Heather Langenkamp's portrayal.
No, I wasn't.
In the first one,
I liked him as a better final character than I liked her.
Yeah, I mean he seems pretty scared. I mean, like he's the screams and the sweat. Freddy's voice in this, Robert Englund gives Freddy a much deeper, raspier voice in this.
Jesse, we got special work to do here, you and me.
Yeah, man, yeah. Look, kind of like that. Some good quotes in this, man. My favorite is, "You've got the body, I've got the brain," and then he like rips his skull back like that. Just the skin, and you see his little pulsing brain right there. Really good practical effect. There's another practical effect where he kind of pops out of the chest of Jesse. It looks so good.
Yeah, it looks really good. I like the one where the room is like melting, and you see all this lamp and like the record is melting. Everything is just really hot, and because that dad just won't fix the AC.
Yes. Now
he should have watched that Sears commercial back in the day that we saw. He said, "I'll call tomorrow," and the wife said, "You'll call now."
You'll call. I'll call now.
I'll call now.
I was gonna be hotter.
Hotter?
Like yesterday.
Yesterday? Yesterday you said you'd call Sears.
I'll call today.
You call now.
I'll call now.
I remember that commercial.
Thank you, Sears.
Now, there's a couple of bad scenes in this. The parakeet scene.
No.
What the crap was that? The infamous parakeet scene. Wes Craven said he got the script. He saw he cites the parakeet scene, and he cites the pool scene as the reason why he did not take this script.
Yeah, I mean, they made a movie, Alfred Hitchcock made Birds, and then you have the Birdemic movie that's a big stinker. But then, you have the parakeet, which is the least intimidating, scary bird of all time. And they made like a whole 4 or 5 minute sequence of the family being scared of it. Yeah, it was that was pretty lame.
That was like, I was just like, okay, glad they put that in there. That was pretty funny. You got the legacy of this film, mixed reception upon release. It's kind of gained a cult following over the years.
This one it lost a lot more of the charm and the mystique of Freddy Krueger than I would have liked it to. I think even better sequels later on, which is pretty rare. Usually, the more you get, the more sequels there are, the more watered down it gets. And in this one, it got watered down pretty quick. But in the future installments, it picks it back up a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. It is again, and I'm not going to compare it to those movies, which again, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Halloween 2 is a sequel on a different planet, but for me, to compare it to that first one, A Nightmare on Elm Street is such an iconic 80s horror movie, and like again, that bathtub scene with that claw coming out, those dream sequences. Coupled with these, or if you like put them side by side, they don't even compare. This is some of the like
it's a different feel.
It is. There's like 2 scenes in this, and I think we just talked about them. But for the most part, this film is pretty forgettable.
I have to kind of harken back to the original film, and yeah, it loses just so much of the charm. Like Freddy, he's not funny in this one. You know, he's like using his claw hand to like kill like 4 or 5 people, and like before he was using like, you didn't really see it was just cool effects, like a bunch of just drums of blood coming out of a bed with Johnny Depp. You know, you didn't see just a stab. You know, you saw just cool stuff happening, him coming out of the wall. I mean, sure, he came out of a guy here, that was cool.
I love that.
Yeah, you know, just Freddy in general as a whole, you miss a lot of the wit that he gave us in the first one.
Because it is in my rating. I think I do just need to give a big spoiler alert here, and just because I think we have to talk about this in the overview. All right,
it was in 85, y'all.
It was in 1985. So a big spoiler alert. This is a big plot point. This is like a possession movie, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
So Freddy in the first one would haunt your dreams. He would single out a person, he would haunt their dreams, and then he would kill them. And if you were on the outside looking in, it would look like you're being killed in your sleep, up onto a wall and all this good stuff. So
you're crawling around doing crazy stuff.
None of that. That's the best part about the first one. The best part.
Right.
When you see that girl getting killed in her room and she's getting pulled up onto the ceiling and her boyfriend is sitting there helpless because she's asleep and freaking Freddy's got her. That was what made that movie special. And they said, they took that and they said, nah, we don't need any of that. We're going to have Freddy slowly possess Jesse. And at one point, all of the rules, everything that was established in that first one goes out the window, and Freddy comes up at a pool scene and starts mass killing folks. Not only that, but he has power over the swimming pool. He has power over the fence line around. He just has unlimited power. I don't even know what are, like, they took so much liberty with this sequel, and it makes me mad. You know what I mean? I'm just like, come on.
It pisses you off. No. Yeah. To an extent, you kind of get it. He wants to manifest himself. He needs to possess a body. He needs to come out in someone or whatever. And they explore that later on. But just when you get down to it, you really want to see him stalking 1 or 2 people at a time. And this one, he just comes up, like you said, kills like 13 people at a pool party.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I want to see him stalking in their dreams, and the dream sequences in the high school in the first one were so well done. And he was sometimes he'd be manifest as a little girl. Remember that? In that school, and there was that body bag. Why? Because she just saw her friend murdered, and they would kind of tease. They would kind of tease at that. This one is just. They just, I don't know. I feel like they forgot where they came from. And so when you're in horror, and like there's a slashers are a dime a dozen. When you're in horror and you have a great idea, don't abandon it so soon. Because it's so rare. Right. It's so rare. And in Freddy, to his credit, Robert Englund, to his credit, I think he was powerful enough to pull this movie out of the ditch. You know what I mean? I think his character, I think Michael Myers did that a lot. I think Jason Voorhees did that a lot with his films. They not so good movie watchable just because they're in it and their character's awesome. You know what I mean? So Freddy's awesome. Yeah. So he pulls this movie out of the ditch. But man, go back and watch that first one. It is such a freaking classic. It is just up there. Yeah. I want to give it another point after watching this one. If I could go back and give it another donut, because it was such a good idea. Do you have any more facts on A Nightmare Freddy's Revenge here?
I just have one more quick one. Some guy named Michael J. Fox was considered for the role of Jesse.
Dang.
But he was unable due to commitments with some movie called Back to the Future and Teen Wolf, both in 1985.
So he passed on this freaking Oscar-winning classic to be in stupid Back to the Future?
Stupid Back to the and stupid Teen Wolf?
What was he thinking?
Golly.
I'm joking.
I love to get together.
I celebrate the entire catalog of Back to the Future. All right, so here we go.
That's all I had.
All right, I'm going to get into my donut rating. A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, showcases some fantastic practical effects, particularly Freddy's terrifying emergence from Jesse's body and his gruesome melting scene at the end. Freddy's darker, scarier look is a highlight, as is his iconic line, "You got the body, I got the brain," which stands out in this film. The idea of Freddy haunting a specific house adds an interesting layer to the story as well. However, Freddy manifesting in the real world feels off for this series, and the overall acting is underwhelming. It's also clear that this movie was rushed into production, affecting the final product, even though it had a bigger budget than the first. I'm going to give this film a 7 out of 13. I think it's worth a rent. It's a Freddy Krueger movie, so I'm going to recommend it. It's just not great horror. It's not a 9 through 12, right. but it is worth a rent. I've watched it 3 or 4 times in my life, and I will probably watch it again because it's Freddy Krueger, and Freddy Krueger is freaking iconic, and he's awesome. And every time he's on screen, I'm glued to the screen. I'm like a little fanboy. Yeah. And I'm mimicking his voice, and I'm wearing his shirt right now, and I want his claw. And all those good stuff.
Oh, I was looking at getting a claw. That would be fun.
Yeah.
We've been on par. We've been pretty tied here throughout sequel September, and I think that's pretty funny. I think highlights for me, I really enjoyed Mark Patton's portrayal of Jesse. The supporting cast was fine, but for me, Jesse carried the film. Even when Freddy was there, he was okay, but it was Jesse's acting that really carried it for me.
Yeah.
The special effects look great. The tension you feel while Jesse slowly goes insane is masterful. I think the sound design and pacing is great. The film lacked that mystique and humor of Freddy Krueger. I think he's criminally underused, and it seems to be a weird take on the franchise. Freddy is centered around dreams, and this one gets confusing because he's trying to, kill people. It's a weird thing. I'll get to it in a little bit in spoilers, but I'm also... funny enough, I have it typed here. I'm going with a 7 out of 13 for this movie.
Dang!
I think it falls flat. Even later sequels bring a little bit more charm to this franchise than this one does.
7 out of 13. Worth a rent for both of us.
Yep.
Worth a rent for both of us.
Rent. If you have time.
If you have time. If this is comfort food for you, I get it. I understand why. Freddy's a great franchise, all that good stuff. But I just feel like the first one is so much better. It is. It is on a different planet, and I can't wait to look at again. These movies from the 80s, they're an hour and a half. When you're seeing Jesse dance in his room, you know what I mean, with that racket and closing his drawer and stuff like that, I'm smiling. I had a good time watching it, even though it's not a good Freddy Krueger movie. Even though it's not that good of a story, and he's not, and it's not scary like it should be, it's still good. I still watch it and smile. It wasn't like I gotta watch Freddy Krueger 2. Yeah. You know what I mean? Or Nightmare on Elm Street 2.
It could have been a good standalone movie without Freddy Krueger's name attached to it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because hey, some demonic presence wants to come into the world and haunts a teen who moved into his old house. Like, you could do that without the Freddy Krueger name because he's not acting like Freddy this movie. Yeah,
you got to act like Freddy. You're going to want those dream hauntings and dream killings, man. Dream killings. That's special. All right, hey, we're about to go scene by scene in this movie. Oddly enough, we found a free version on YouTube. Probably highly illegal. I don't know. It's might be highly illegal. I don't know. I watched it.
Right next to the one that I watched, it said there was one that I could buy or rent, but I clicked the one that was free. So I'm sure you can too.
All right, Chris. Here come the spoils, man.
Let's do it.
5 years after Freddy Krueger's apparent defeat, the Walsh family has moved into Nancy Thompson's former house. Their teenage son, Jesse, has a nightmare about Krueger. Jesse and his friend Lisa discover Nancy Thompson's diary in his room, detailing her nightmares, which are strikingly similar to his. Small fires occur around the house, culminating in the spontaneous combustion of their pet birds.
It really makes it look like that parakeet attack is something special. But I feel like you could just hit it with a fly swatter or something and be done, right?
Right.
I mean, they really played into that. I mean, I do understand like the house getting hot, because it's like the boiler room and Freddy used to work at a factory. I understand that. But the dad just thinks it's just a shot of a shot of Freon or something. Is what he says.
Oh yeah. I love the opening scene of this. I wish they would have put that in there, but it's like he's riding on a bus and he's kind of sitting there by himself, and he looks
one of the better scenes.
Yeah, he looks just kind of lonely, like he is the new kid, like he's the new kid.
He looks nerdy, doesn't he?
He does. He looks a little nerdy, and there's two pretty girls, sitting on the other side of the bus. And you can clearly see it's Robert Englund driving this bus.
Yeah.
And those two girls are kind of like talking about him and like giggling, and he's just like kind of unsure about himself. And then this bus all of a sudden is riding like off-road into the desert, and all of a sudden the ground kind of like breaks away, and it's on these like two huge pillars of like hell. And then the bus driver turns around, and it's Freddy, and he's darkened, and he's cutting the seats as he walks up the bus aisle. What a cool dream, and what a cool opening. You're just like, yes, because the first one ended with a vehicle driving away. Here's another vehicle. This seemed pretty cool. It seemed like a really cool opening like that. And then you see this family around a breakfast table, and you hear Jesse's very iconic scream, like, ah! I mean, like it's like a shrill almost from up there. Yeah. And then the little girl, his little sister, is like, does he always have to wake up like that? And they're just like, I don't know what his problem is.
Right. Yeah. And I read that they wanted to continue in the car and have them continue with that scene and then have Freddy come, but one of them was against it, and they had this disagreement. So they just like, whatever, put him driving a school bus. But I do like this scene. It's one of my favorite in this movie, if not my favorite, because it really, it's pretty fun to watch all that stuff. And then like the bus is teetering on these pillars. It's really tense.
When Freddy is in your dreams, the movie, you're having a good time. It's great. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. Like, I mean, how can you can't mess that up.
Right.
60% of this movie, I feel like, is watching Jesse wake up in a cold sweat in his bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he's just waking up sweating and just, and just like, I mean, there's so many scenes like that. At one point, yes, the house is very, very hot. He wakes up, he goes outside, he looks down at his basement, and there is Freddy in there. He's like stoking the fires of his furnace for the house and making it hot in that kind of way. And he just goes back inside. He's like, I don't want no part of that.
He's just nopes out of there. But you would think that, like, get you a fan. Or tell your dad, like, look, if you don't fix this thing, I'm sleeping outside, buddy.
So Lisa comes by, and she's a rich girl. She's a rich girl, but you're gone to. She has this awesome swimming pool in the back of her house, but she rides with Jesse to school in his like crap wagon. I mean, the thing is like blowing smoke and everything, but she don't care. She's in love with her man, and the lengths that she will go to save Jesse. He better stay with her. That's all I'm saying, because this girl,
you're not wrong.
She doesn't even care that he murders like 27 of her closest friends and students from the school. She's like, I just love you.
That's one of the things, real quick, if I could touch on. I didn't really understand Freddy's motive here for possessing this guy. He's having this guy, Jesse, go and he's like, kill for me. And so, he does. He starts to kill for him. And then eventually, he's going to come into the world, and then this guy that he's possessing is going to be arrested for the murder of like 17 people. So Freddy's just going to be in jail. So I never really understood his motive behind Jesse, being possessed.
You get it?
Just saying.
You get it now? No, I'm just joking. I have no idea. And they don't talk about it. It's a Freddy Krueger movie, so all you have to do is end with a dream sequence and everything's okay. You're like, hey. You're like, but what? Like, hey, wait a second. Dream sequence. Credits.
Dream sequence.
And here's the credits. Jesse has another nightmare where Freddy tells him to kill for him. The dreams grow more intense. He unsuccessfully attempts different measures to keep himself awake. He eventually begins wandering the streets at night, butt naked. I added that part. One night, he's caught by his gym teacher, Coach Schneider, in a gay bar, and is made to run laps at a gym, the school gym, for punishment. In the gym showers, Freddy emerges, kills Schneider. Afterward, Jesse is horrified to see the glove on his hand. He's escorted home by the police officers after being found wandering the streets butt naked. Lisa takes Jesse to the abandoned factory where Freddy Krueger worked, but they don't find anything there.
Yeah, they really. I thought the scene was cool. Like they just kind of shot a bunch of balls out of cannons, which I think Dead Meat said it was indicative of what this movie's about. Shooting balls out of places. Anyway, but yeah, that's a pretty cool scene. Him getting dragged down the hall by like invisible Freddy and ropes, like that's pretty cool. And then yeah, I think the shower scene works fine. You know, he's like clawing Freddy even though he's standing there taking a shower. And I do like all the jets turning with, you know, the showers start having the blood come out of them. You know, that's, you know, pretty standard, but that's fun.
It is fun. The following night, Jesse attends Lisa's pool party and he kisses her, but his body begins to change and he leaves in a panic. What happens? He goes to this pool party and then they go to like a cabana room and they're like making out and stuff. Yeah. And then his tongue goes total Gene Simmons and it's like 13 inches long, which.
Well, before they get there though, he's acting really aloof. Like he doesn't want to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
He doesn't even talk to his family at this point. It's really. And that's, you know, this movie these synopsises are skipping that, but it's really a fun, slow burn for him turning crazy that they do really well. And at this point, he's almost at rock bottom because he knows he killed the coach. Yes. And he can't tell anybody because he's afraid to go to prison.
Right.
So it's really, he's got this like secret in him and he can't tell anybody. Maybe more than one secret, but, you know, then he finally gets in with Lisa. Lisa finally talks him down off the ledge, and they start making out, and he gets all Gene Simmons with her.
Yeah, and which he puts it back in and like runs away, but he doesn't know that she probably would have loved that. He goes to his friend Grady's house, confesses to killing Schneider. And he instructs Grady to watch him as he sleeps. When Grady falls asleep, Freddy emerges from Jesse's body and kills him. One of the coolest things ever. Freddy then changes back to Jesse, who flees back to Lisa's house. Lisa realizes that Jesse's terror is giving Freddy his strength, but he cannot stop fearing him. He transforms again. Freddy attacks Lisa, but realizes he cannot harm her due to Jesse's influence. He goes outside instead, where he slaughters the partygoers before escaping.
All right, so let's talk about a few things here. So, you know, I thought Grady's character was pretty strong, and he actually went on to do a few other good things in horror. That's Grady's character. I forget his name, but that is Robert Russler. He did a great job as Ron Grady. But yeah, and you know, this pool party scene, man, like. It's such it's a 180 from what Freddy used to be. He's now manifested and he's just killing everyone he sees running around. It's like they kind of saw the formula for other slashers and they just wanted to have Freddy kill them with his bare hands. Like
get that body count up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gotta get the body count up because he's trailing behind everybody else.
Yeah. Well, what makes Freddy special is not the fact that he has a large body count. What makes Freddy special is the fact that he his kills are so memorable. You know what I mean?
The chase.
Yeah, it's the chase. It's the mind. He's messing with your mind, and then he kills you. It's like he plays with his food for a little while. That's awesome. I love that aspect. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then he sucks you into a bed, and blood spews out. You know what I mean? And then like there's just so many cool things that I feel like they really passed over on this. I feel like they're stepping over dollars to pick up nickels here. You know?
Yeah, you miss the slow burn of the chase, and then you miss the part in the cinema where you don't know if it's a dream or not. You know what I mean? Like when we were watching the first one, you're kind of like, damn, is this part of the dream or what's going on? Like, hey, you don't know what's real and what's not. And this one, everything that happens is just freaking real, and he's just running around killing people in this kid's body, and it's like he's trying to go to jail or something. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, you're right. And and another thing that even Halloween 2 did, and we talked about it a little bit, the beauty of Halloween 1 was the fact that we knew who Michael Myers was killing. We knew that he was those friends of Laurie Strode. You know what I mean? We kind of like had a relationship with them. We kind of found out who they were. They were friends. So we felt something when they died. When Freddy pops up at a swimming pool and he's like just stabbing random kids and stuff like that. like to me, that means it's nothing. You know what I mean? That means nothing.
Nobody cares about
it. Yeah. Like you really, unless you like pause the video and you're looking, oh, that person died. Okay, that person died. You know, like nothing. He really doesn't kill anybody meaningful in this movie, does he?
And I thought they were going the way of like Halloween 2 with the hot tub scene. Like I thought he was gonna like boil them alive.
Oh yeah.
But they're just like, no, it's hot. Let's get out of here. And then, you know, eventually he finally catches the pool on fire. But it was just a lot of kind of lame kills with them. And like they could have done a lot of cool stuff where stuff's getting hot. Oh my gosh, the pool, it's boiling them alive. Oh, the fences.
Here's the skin
electric,
and all
but
that.
he just like touches the fence. He's like, ouch. And then he runs away. Like he didn't kill him on the fence. It is, you know, they missed a lot of kills there that they could have done up for that. It was more proppy. Like they showed all the beer cans like popping open and beer spraying out when they could have showed more kills. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I said, no, he didn't kill anybody important. Robert Russell, that character that you were talking about, he does kill him in his room. And that's probably the most creative kill in this movie, if I'm remembering correctly. If you count the fact that he came out of Jesse's body and all that, and then he like pins him up against the wall and slices him like that. He does kill Coach Schneider by whipping his ass with a towel. You know,
and that's one of those. Yes, that's one of those. Like he's killing the bad guy.
Oh
you know, 'cause he's kind of like an antagonist, making him run laps.
Oh yeah,
I did love the scene where they're like, man, Coach Schneider had a real stick up his ass, and he goes, he always has a stick up his ass, and he's like, hey, dirt balls, and then it just cuts to them doing push-ups again. I loved it. Like I was laughing.
That's
out
pretty
loud.
funny.
Like,
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That's funny.
That stuff really happens. You know what I mean? Lisa drives to the abandoned factory, having to control her fear before confronting Freddy. She pleads with Jesse to fight Freddy, confesses her love for him, and then she goes in and kisses Freddy. After this, Jesse begins to fight back. Freddy combusts and turns to ash, from which Jesse emerges.
So we just learned that the real thing that kills Freddy Krueger is love. And he wanted to kiss this whole time, and then he'll leave you alone.
And then it's
so
over.
If you ever see Freddy in your dreams, try to make out with him.
This is a cool scene because they went out of their way to make Freddy really, really gross in this one. Like we said, like his skin was really wet and like pulsating and like disgusting. So for her to like fight back that fear and just close her eyes and just like pucker up, to get Jesse back. That was big. That was huge. She could have died there. There's a lot of things that could have happened there. And she just, if there's any doubt in Freddy's mind that she wasn't scared of him, go in for the kiss. You know what I mean? And Jesse emerges. Later on, Jesse, Lisa, and Lisa's friend Carrie, they're taking the bus to school. What happened to Jesse's car? Jesse he is bandaged up a little bit, so maybe he can't.
Yeah, he's
maybe he can't drive, but she could have drove his car.
Yeah, and what happened to all of the people? Like, I'm sorry, we have to suspend our disbelief a little bit, but is there not a massive investigation going on in the city and around Lisa's house?
Chris, no.
Am I missing something, Tony?
So at the pool party. Here's another question. At the pool party, and Freddy jumps out. He makes his big entrance, like he like pops up and everything. He's got his claw. Are they seeing Jesse with a claw, or do they see Freddy?
I feel like they see Freddy.
So
but it's hard to say because the dude's actually like trying to talk to him. He's like, "Hey, man, it's okay. You don't have to do this, man. Just calm down. We're gonna be okay."
Yeah, it seemed like it was Jesse, right?
Yeah,
because it was one.
I want to talk to dude.
No, because it looked like it was one of his classmates, and he was like, "Hey, listen, hey, man." So you're thinking, am I looking at Jesse holding a claw? But I guess it's Freddy. I don't know.
Good question.
So in your mind, you're sitting there like, should he be on trial? Because how many people watched him? This crazy dude murder everybody. Anyway,
I did like him walking through the fence, though. I thought that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that was
where he just walked out of the fence and it just caught fire. Thought that was pretty cool.
Absolutely. Now, that being said, in the first one, when he came into the real world, which he did, he was subject to everything that was in the real world. So he was like put on fire. Yes. He was hit with a frying pan. He slipped and fell down the side. Like there was a lot of things. Like he was like he was just like he was basically a human at that point. But when he's brought into the real world in this one, he is all knowing, all powerful. He creates. He controls everything around him. He can walk through fences. He's basically Thanos at this point, but whatever.
I remember in the first one when he came into the real world. I remember thinking he was like Curly from the Three Stooges.
Yeah, I mean, he got his ass slapsticky. He got his ass whooped. You know what I mean?
She set it up like the McAllister.
Yeah.
She, like Macaulay Culkin learned from her. You know what I mean?
She set some good traps up. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And but in this one, those traps wouldn't have worked. I mean, he was like. He was just, it's crazy. Which I hate this. I hate that part, Chris. Yes, did it look cool when the flame came up and he walked through the fence? Yes. Do I like it? Yeah. Absolutely not. Later, as Jesse, Lisa, and Lisa's friend Carrie, they're taking the bus to school. Jesse notices similarities to his original nightmare and he starts to panic. Carrie insists it's all over. Before Freddy's clawed arm bursts through her chest, Freddy laughs as the bus drives into the field, just as in Jesse's first nightmare.
And roll credits. That is it's a good full circle. You have that original nightmare, and then it does just go to show you that Jesse's not done yet, or that Freddy's not done yet, and he's still there terrorizing. He's still alive, so there will be a third one. For sure.
No questions answered.
You hated it.
I don't know. It's just it's the weirdest thing. No closure. You don't need closure with horror. I always say that.
You've always said that.
I've always said that.
For the first 10 episodes.
I've always said that, but this one, you're sitting there. Oh, so is he not on trial? Oh, did he not kill all those people? Oh, this was just a dream. They're not even going to tell you. They don't even care. Yeah. They're just yeah.
I'll be honest. I enjoyed the tension on the bus on this latest, where he's like, "Hey, stop driving." He's trying to make sure that his dream doesn't happen.
Yeah, and they're like, "Hey, he's picking up a drop. He's picking up somebody.
Sit down, dude. Yeah,
calm down."
And it's still a better ending than the first one.
Definitely,
just throwing that out there.
That first ending, yeah. Robert Shea, man.
Yeah.
Robert Shea wanted to make sequels, and So the next one is A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. That
sounds fun.
Yeah.
When are we doing that one?
We got to put it on there because it's a special one. Apparently, Damian Leone, who did the Terrifier, he's a big Freddy fan, big Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and he called Terrifier 2 his Dream Warriors with the fantastical elements of it, those mythical, with that sword and all, and
she's 30-minute dream sequence.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever. So I'm excited to peek into Dream Warriors again. So,
sequel September
has been real, man. It's been so much fun.
It's been a blast.
It's been a blast, man. And now we're on the road to October. The road to Halloween into October, and man, I'm excited.
We have some really good things coming up, guys. So we
name a few of these. I want to hear them.
We have The Exorcist.
Oh my gosh,
coming up.
Oh gosh,
yes, we're gonna have to dedicate some time to that one.
Yeah,
we do have Halloween H2O.
Awesome.
We also have Pet Sematary, the original 1989, and The Conjuring from 2013. Halloween October is going to be chock full of just some good horror films. A few 13s might be floating around in there. We'll see. But thanks, everybody, for hanging with us. We appreciate you being with us. Sequel September, and we look forward to a great October with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining, y'all. Thanks. Like and subscribe.